It is time to go to work in Leningrad. Lev Nikolaevich Kalachev will soon leave for the nearby factory where he designs electric turbines. A night's ride by train to the southeast, Vasily Petrovich makes his regular early morning stop at the milk dispensary. His wife, Nina, leaves for the fields with the other women of the collective farm. At the same moment, near the Turkish border, Dr. Kati Tatishvili and her husband, Nugzar, are enjoying a mid-morning picnic in the hills of Georgia. Another 1,000 miles to the east, in Soviet Central Asia, it is noon. The family of Abdur Rasul is gathered upon the traditional chaihana for lunch. But in the forest region of Siberia, which is 4 hours later by the sun, the working day is almost over. When the sun sets for the Siberian farmer, for over 100 million Soviet citizens, thousands of miles to the west, the day is just beginning.
Fertile is the black soil of thy wheat land, and rich thy pastures, O Mother Russia. Thy fields are covered with the blossom of wild flowers, and fragrant strawberries spread over them like a scarlet cloth. Fresh and green and mighty stand thy forests of all manner of trees. Rich is the harvest that rewards the peasant.
My name is Dmitry Shevchenko. My family lived on this same land for as long as anybody here can remember. The Shevchenkos were serfs to a nobleman under the Tsar. Then they became small farming freemen. And when I was a boy, we were collectivized by law. We expect a good harvest this year, and that will mean more money for us. Perhaps Natasha and I will enlarge our flock of chickens. And perhaps, too, there will be enough money so that the kolkhoz can finally repair the old church and make it into a decent social center. As it is, it leaks when it rains, and it doesn't hold heat well in winter. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Dmitry Shevchenko lives on a kolkhoz, a collective farm. On collectives, all the means of production, the land, the buildings, and the machinery, are owned collectively by all the farmers. The state determines what and how much the farm is going to produce. Everything in excess of this quota is sold to the state for profit. It is from this extra money that the people are paid a bonus above the minimum wage. On collective farms, farm families can own the land surrounding their homes. They can raise anything they want on this land and sell it in the town market for personal gain. Although the size of privately owned land is small, these plots are responsible for 2/3 of the nation's dairy products and 1/2 of the fresh vegetables. The day-to-day affairs of a collective farm are run by a committee of farmers, mostly men like Vasily Petrovich.
I drive the milk truck between the barn and the dispensary. On my collective, the committee makes many important decisions. We get directives from Moscow, but we decide who will do what job. We are all paid in minimum wage, but the committee recommends the size of the bonus which is paid after the quotas have been met and the surplus harvest sold. We plan not only for work, but for recreation too. Take, for instance, this year's May Day picnic. We have asked Tatiana Ivanovna to sing for us a medley of old Russian songs.
Колокольчик, колокольчик голубой, Коля, Николаша, где мы встретимся с тобой? А Коля, Николаша, где мы встретимся с тобой? Дилин, дилин, дилин.
No matter how modern our machines, we love our old melodies. Even those who leave the farm for the cities continue to sing and teach them to the children.
Колокольчик, колокольчик Иван-чай, Коля, Николаша, я приду, а ты встречай. А Коля, Николаша, я приду, а ты встречай. Дилин, 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 дилин. А Коля, Николаша, я приду, а ты встречай.
Central Asia is one of the oldest inhabited regions of the Earth.
My name is Usman Isupov. I am a farm worker for the Andijan State Cotton Farm. I live with my family in the new quarters built by the State Farm Organization. The house is new, but our customs are old. Our meals are traditional. We like tea and we eat lepioshki, which is our bread, and plov, which is rice mixed with pieces of lamb and sweet fruit. Traditionally, the women of the house serve the men, even the youngest. Since the establishment of our Uzbek Soviet Socialist Republic, things have changed. Hassan, my youngest, will grow up in a much better world than I did.
Abdurasul is the chairman of the Andijan State Cotton Farm. He is an important link in the chain of state farm bureaucracy, from regional managers to local supervisors. On state farms, the land, the means of production, and the capital are all owned by the state. Everyone who works the farm is an employee and is in fact no different from a factory worker. State farm workers are paid on a similar scale as factory workers. They have no voice in the operation. They even live in company-style housing. State farms receive directives from the Central Agricultural Planning Authority, from which a long chain of command stretches all the way down to the regional manager, usually a man like Abdurasul, who has lived all his life with the people of the area.
hiçbir suya gülzara benzemez. Gedme görneceğe sarmaşıp budak budağaya. Yeyrem görneceğe sarmaşıp budak budağaya. Hiçbir suya gülzara benzemez. Sana ne vezanam kurbanay.
Abdurasul will sell his fruit crop in the regional markets, for the great markets of European Russia are far away, and refrigerated transportation is still very scarce. But European Russia is where the markets continue to grow as more and more farm people are moving to the city.
Акцент сделайте на это. Ах, как прелестно сказал. Чуть согни колено. Да, Костик, сюда, акцент.
Бесполезно, не правда, сеньоры, если милый красавица дорог, не муж, не танцор, не усмотрит за ней. Дай вина, будем пить до рассвета, за красавица веселье, за любовь.
Коля спрыгнул.
By now, the majority of Soviet citizens live in cities and are employed in the most varied occupations. From singing opera, to making chocolate, to flying airplanes. Lev Nikolaevich Kalachev designs electric turbines. He walks to work through one of the recently completed housing projects built to meet the acute post-war housing shortage. As a member of the factory trade union, Lev gets not only help in housing, but also many other benefits which are usually not associated with a place of work. State factories, like state farms, are highly centralized. Lev's immediate supervisor is the last man in a hierarchical chain that reaches all the way up to the State Planning Commission in Moscow, from which all the decisions concerning practically every aspect of the industrial economy originate.
Every region of our country receives careful attention from our party and government. While our planning is central, our objective is to develop each region to the fullest extent, using the natural and human resources wherever they may be for the benefit of the entire Soviet Union. Sometimes national interests supersede individual needs. Thus, the government recently decided to expand our foreign markets, though in time we will return to a greater emphasis on domestic consumer goods.
For the consumer, shopping in winter is especially difficult. In Soviet families, the woman does all the household chores. In Leningrad, the wife of Lev Nikolaevich Kalachev, who was a meteorologist, leaves work to do her daily shopping. Like everybody else, she walks. Consumer goods are also produced according to a central plan, which tries to anticipate the consumer's tastes and needs. Shopping takes up many hours of the Soviet woman's day, whether she is a factory worker or a highly trained professional like Dr. Kati Tatishvili.
My name is Katya Tatishvili. I'm a pediatrician. Here in Georgia, as in all of the Soviet Union, most physicians are women. Our economy depends on the work of both men and women, and our incomes are geared to it. My husband, Nugzar, is also an MD. We live with our 2 children and my mother in the older section of Tbilisi, the capital city of Georgia. We have 4 rooms, which by Soviet standards is quite luxurious. But then this apartment was passed on to me by my father, who was also a physician. So we did not have to struggle through the successive applications to the Department of Housing. My friend Katerina and I are on our way to take a ride into the hills to picnic with some friends. We have heard that the dance group of the Trade Union of Transportation Workers plans to rehearse today, which is a treat for us natives of Tbilisi. Take a good look at the costumes. Women wear dresses that show Persian and Turkish influence. Men are dressed in tattered kaftans, which were the costumes of the legendary horsemen. Notice also that the stars of the dances are men. This reflects our traditions of men playing the important role of being the leaders.
My name is Mikhail Titov. I am a welder. I live way out east in the Siberian city of Bratsk, over 3,000 kilometers from Moscow. Here in Siberia, the government offers as much as 40% more pay to attract workers. Like myself, a lot of young people have been attracted by the good wages. The average age of a worker here is under 30. We young people in Siberia begin to think of this new vast territory as our own. Once it was the land of the exiles. For some, it still is. But for most of us here in Bratsk, it is a region of promise. Maybe it's here that the future greatness of Russia lies. I live here in this workers' dormitory. Every evening I study radio engineering by way of correspondence. That's quite a thing to do here. So I and my friends close many of our days with an hour or more of studying.
As the day draws to a close in different parts of the Soviet Union, Dmitry Shevchenko reads his Pravda and goes to bed. Vasily Petrovich sets his alarm clock for 5:30. Kati Tatishvili listens to her husband practicing the piano. And Abdur Rasul sips some tea before retiring. Lev Nikolaevich Kalachev ends his day by taking his family to a concert of the trade union choral club of his factory. He listens to the native music of the Russian plains. He feels a closeness to the native soil. He remembers his grandfather walking behind the plow. For he and most of his colleagues, as in fact the majority of the Soviet city dwellers, are only one generation or two away from the farm.